The stars looked different from this far out in space. Captain William Harris stood on the bridge of the Earth exploratory vessel Horizon, his eyes fixed on the viewscreen. A massive alien ship hung in the darkness before them, at least 10 times the size of their own vessel. "Are you ready, Captain?" asked Susan Kelly, the ship's sinolinguist. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her face serious. Harris nodded. As ready as anyone can be for humanity's first meeting with aliens. The year was 2157. After decades of searching the stars, humans had finally made contact with an advanced alien civilization, the Zexorian Empire. The initial radio communications had led to this meeting, far from Earth in neutral space. "Transmission coming in, sir," said Communications Officer Peter Wright. The view screen flickered, revealing a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 dark eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its mouth was a thin line, and it had no visible nose. "I am Supreme Commander Zixel of the Zexorian Empire," the alien said in strangely accented English. "We welcome the representatives of Earth to Galactic society." Harris stepped forward. "On behalf of all humanity, we are honored to meet you. We hope this marks the beginning of a peaceful relationship between our peoples." The alien's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Your species is young. Very young. How long have you had faster-than-light travel?" 23 years, Harris answered. A sound like grinding metal filled the bridge. It took a moment for the humans to realize the Zexorians were laughing. "Most impressive," Zixel said, though his tone suggested the opposite. "And how many star systems does humanity control?" "We have colonies on Mars and Europa, and mining operations throughout our solar system," Harris replied. "We haven't yet established permanent settlements in other star systems." More grinding laughter. "One system. How quaint." Lieutenant Kelly leaned close to Harris's ear. "Sir, their translator is working perfectly, but they're choosing words that show disrespect. In their language structure, they're addressing us as they would children." Harris nodded slightly, keeping his face neutral. "The Zexorian Empire spans 317 star systems," Zixel continued. "We have existed for 10,000 of your Earth years. We have much to teach your primitive species." From his station at the side of the bridge, Chief Engineer Alan Martinez whispered, "Captain, they're scanning us. Our shields are holding, but they're being very thorough." Harris kept his focus on the alien commander. "We look forward to learning from you, but humanity joins the galactic community as equals, not as students." The grinding sound came again, louder this time. "Equals. Your arrogance is amusing, human. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are toys. Your ships would crumble before the smallest vessel in our fleet. Nevertheless, we maintain our position," Harris said firmly. Zixel's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Very well. The Zexorian Empire offers humanity a place within our civilization as a protected servant species. You will provide resources and labor. In exchange, we will grant you our protection and limited access to our technology." The bridge fell silent. Susan Kelly's face paled. Alan Martinez's hand moved to where his sidearm would be if they had been allowed to bring weapons to this meeting. "I'm afraid we must decline," Harris said, keeping his voice level. "Humanity wishes to join the galactic community as a free and independent species." All 4 of Zixel's eyes narrowed to slits. "You have 6 of your Earth months to reconsider. After that time, we will bring civilization to your primitive planet, with or without your cooperation." The transmission cut off abruptly. "That," Susan Kelly said quietly, "was a declaration of war." Harris turned to the navigation officer. "Plot a course back to Earth, maximum speed. We need to warn them." As the horizon turned toward home, Harris stared at the stars. They still looked beautiful, but now they also looked dangerous. The Zexorians had laughed at humanity. In 6 months, they would learn if that laughter was justified. The room was quiet when Captain Harris finished speaking. 50 of Earth's top military leaders sat around the large table, their faces grim. Admiral Catherine Walsh stood up, her gray hair cut short, her blue uniform crisp and clean. "So," she said, "the Zexorians have given us 6 months before they attack." "Yes, Admiral," Harris replied. "They think we're weak." They laughed at us. Admiral Walsh smiled slightly. "Good. Let them laugh." She pressed a button on the table. The wall behind her lit up with a detailed map of the solar system. 20 years ago, we picked up alien signals from deep space. We knew this day would come. We've been getting ready. The image changed to show a large structure hidden behind the dark side of the moon. "This is Shipyard 1, Walsh explained. "We have 5 more like it throughout the solar system. For the last 15 years, we've been building more ships in secret." Captain Harris looked shocked. "But how? The public doesn't know about this." "The world governments agreed to keep it quiet," Walsh said. "We didn't want to cause panic. Only those with a need to know were told." The door opened, and a thin man with glasses walked in. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "This is Dr. Frank Wilson, our head of stenobiology," Walsh explained. "Doctor, please share what you've learned." Dr. Wilson stood before the group. "In 2089, we found a crashed alien ship on Mars. The pilot was dead, but we learned much from the body and the ship's technology. The alien wasn't Zexorian, but the tech is similar." He showed pictures of the alien and its ship. "We've spent decades studying this technology and making it better. Our ships now use advanced engines and weapons based on these designs." A tall woman in a military uniform stood up next. "I'm Commander Diane Martinez. My soldiers have been training for space combat for years. We're ready to fight." Next came a young woman with short black hair. "I'm Olivia Grant. My team has created computer programs that can break into Zexorian systems and shut them down." Admiral Walsh nodded to each of them. "We've been preparing for this day. The Zexorians think we're weak, but we're not." She pressed another button, and the screen showed hundreds of ships hidden among Jupiter's moons. "This is our fleet. 237 ships, all armed with advanced weapons. The Zexorians don't know they exist." Captain Harris couldn't believe his eyes. "All this time, we've been building a war fleet." "Yes," Walsh said, "and now we need to get ready for battle. The Zexorians gave us 6 months, but I don't think they'll wait that long." She turned to the group. "Dr. Wilson, continue studying the Zexorian transmission. Find any weaknesses in their technology. Commander Martinez, speed up the training of your soldiers. Olivia, make sure your programs are ready." They all nodded. "And Captain Harris," Walsh said, "I want you to take command of our newest ship, the Defender. Your experience with the Zexorians will be valuable." Harris stood straighter. "Yes, Admiral." "The enemy thinks we're weak," Walsh said to everyone. "They think we'll be easy to conquer. They're wrong. Humanity has faced threats before, and we've always survived. We will not become slaves to the Zexorian Empire." She looked at each person in the room. "For now, we continue our preparations in secret. Let the Zexorians think we're scared. Let them laugh. In 6 months, we'll show them what humanity can do." As the meeting ended, Harris looked again at the image of Earth's hidden fleet. The Zexorians had laughed at humanity, thinking them primitive and weak. They would soon learn their mistake, and it would be their last mistake. The 6 months passed quickly. Earth used every second to prepare. Factories worked day and night, making weapons and ships. Soldiers trained without rest. Scientists improved their technology. Captain William Harris stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Defender. It was much larger than the Horizon, built for war, not exploration. Its black hull absorbed light, making it hard to see in space. Harris looked out at the stars, wondering when the Zexorians would come. He didn't have to wait long. "Captain," said Officer Wright, "our sensors are picking up something at the edge of the solar system." Harris looked at the screen. Hundreds of ships appeared from nowhere, surrounding Pluto. They were large and gray, with sharp edges that looked like claws. "It's them," Harris said. "The Zexorians are here." Admiral Walsh's face appeared on the screen. "All ships, stay hidden. Let's see what they do first." The main screen lit up with the face of Supreme Commander Zixel. His 4 eyes looked directly at the camera. "People of Earth," he said, his voice cold. "6 months ago, we offered you a place in our empire. Your leaders have ignored our generous offer. Now we will take what we want." The transmission ended. "They're sending smaller ships toward Earth," Wright reported. "About 50 of them." Harris watched as the scout ships moved into the solar system. They passed the outer planets quickly, heading straight for Earth. "Admiral," said Harris, "should we stop them?" "Not yet," Walsh replied. "Let Phase 1 begin." As the scout ships reached the Kuiper Belt, the ring of icy objects at the edge of the solar system, something unexpected happened. Hidden satellites, placed there months ago, activated all at once. They sent out powerful electromagnetic pulses, hitting the Zexorian ships. The scouts went dark, floating helplessly in space. On the main Zexorian ship, Zixel was confused. "What happened to our scouts?" he demanded. "They've lost power," a Zexorian officer replied. "Something disabled them." Zixel's eyes narrowed. "It seems the humans have some tricks. No matter. Send the main fleet forward." Back on Earth, President Laura Chen stood before the world's cameras. Her face was serious but calm. "Citizens of Earth," she said, "the moment we have prepared for has arrived. The Zexorian Empire has entered our solar system with hostile intent, but we are ready." She looked directly into the camera. "Today, I activate Operation Leonidas, our plan to defend humanity. May God be with our brave men and women who fight for our freedom." In space, Admiral Walsh gave the order everyone had been waiting for. "All ships, reveal yourselves. Battle Formation Alpha." From behind Jupiter's moons, Earth's fleet appeared. 237 ships, black as night, moved into position. At the front was the largest ship of all, the Defiance, commanded by Captain Daniel Morgan. On the Zexorian command ship, alarms sounded. "Supreme Commander, call the panicked officer. Human ships detected." "How many?" asked Zixel. "Over 200, sir. They were hiding behind Jupiter." For the first time, Zixel felt uncertain. "Impossible. They're a primitive species. They can't have that many ships." The officer looked at his screen, his 4 eyes wide with shock. "Sir, the human ships are advanced. Our scans show weapons we've never seen before." On the Defiance, Captain Morgan smiled. He was tall and lean, with dark skin and sharp eyes. He had trained for this moment his entire career. "All weapons ready," he said calmly. "Prepare to engage the enemy." The human fleet moved forward, breaking into 3 groups. The Zexorians, still shocked by what they were seeing, scrambled to form a defensive line. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. Space lit up with bright flashes as the battle began. Captain Morgan's voice was calm as he gave orders. "Alpha Squadron, move to Sector 3. Beta Squadron, prepare Thunderbolt weapons. Gamma Squadron, stand by for boarding action." The human fleet split into 3 groups. The first group, led by Commander Heather Brooks, flew directly at the Zexorian front line. Her ships were smaller and faster than the alien vessels. "All ships, activate jump systems," Brooks ordered. What happened next shocked the Zexorians. The human ships disappeared and reappeared behind the enemy vessels. They vanished again, showing up on the left side of the Zexorian fleet, then to the right, then above. "What is this?" Zixel shouted. "How are they moving like that?" "Short-range teleportation, sir," an officer replied. "Technology we thought was impossible for their level of development." Brooks smiled as her ships danced around the confused enemy. "Fire at will," she ordered. Blue beams shot from the human ships, hitting the Zexorian vessels with perfect accuracy. Meanwhile, Beta Squadron moved into position under Commander Victor Ramirez. His ships were larger, built to carry special weapons. "Activate Project Thunderbolt," Ramirez ordered. Large dishes extended from his ships, sending invisible waves toward the Zexorian fleet. The alien ships began to drift, their lights flickering. "What's happening?" Zixel demanded as his own ship's systems started to fail. "The humans are using some kind of electromagnetic pulse," his officer said. "It's disrupting our neural crystal technology." On the Defiance, Captain Morgan nodded with satisfaction. "Their ships are disabled. Gamma Squadron, you're up." Major Gregory Nelson led the third group of ships. "All boarding teams, prepare for deployment." Soldiers in advanced spacesuits launched from the human vessels, flying toward the disabled Zexorian ships. They cut through the hulls and entered the enemy vessels. Inside, the human soldiers moved quickly. They used special gas that knocked out the Zexorians, but didn't harm humans. They downloaded data from the alien computers and planted tracking devices. "Sir," an officer reported to Morgan, "a Zexorian dreadnought has broken through our lines. It's heading for Mars." Morgan's eyes narrowed. "Plot an intercept course. Use Jupiter's gravity to boost our speed." The Defiance turned sharply, flying close to Jupiter. The giant planet's gravity pulled on the ship, throwing it forward at incredible speed. The Defiance shot across the solar system like a bullet, catching up to the dreadnought just as it approached Mars. "Fire all forward weapons," Morgan ordered. The Defiance's weapons tore into the larger Zexorian ship, disabling its engines. The dreadnought drifted helplessly in space. Back at the main battle, the Zexorians were in chaos. Their ships couldn't communicate with each other. Their weapons were failing. Human boarding parties were taking over their vessels. "This is impossible," Zixel said, watching his fleet being defeated. "They were supposed to be primitive." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to the High Command. Tell them what's happening here. Request the Stellar Armada immediately." As the message went out, Zixel looked at the human fleet with new eyes. For the first time in his long life, he felt fear. On the Defiance, Captain Morgan received reports from across the battlefield. "Sir, we've disabled 63% of enemy vessels," an officer said. "The rest are retreating." Morgan nodded. "Let them go. They need to tell their leaders what happened here today." Admiral Walsh's face appeared on the screen. "Well done, Captain, but this is just the beginning. Our intelligence suggests they're calling for reinforcements." Morgan looked out at the stars. "Then we'll be ready for them too." The first battle was over. Humanity had won. But the war had just begun. The victory celebration on Earth was short. 1 week after the battle, Admiral Walsh called an emergency meeting. "We've intercepted Zexorian communications," she said. "They're sending their Stellar Armada, a force 10 times larger than what we just faced." The room grew quiet. Captain Morgan leaned forward. "How long do we have?" 3 days, Walsh replied. "Maybe 4. Dr. Carol Martinez stood up. She was small with curly brown hair and was the head of quantum communications research. "Admiral, we found something important in the Zexorian transmissions. They're not coming alone." She pressed a button, showing images of 4 different alien species. "The Zexorians are bringing these races with them. They're part of the Empire, species that the Zexorians conquered before." "So we're facing 5 different enemies now," Morgan said. Walsh nodded. "It's time for Phase 2. Captain Powell, report on the Venus facilities." Commander Jason Powell stood. He was a tall man with dark skin and a serious face. "The antimatter production plants on Venus are running at full capacity. They can supply our fleet with enough power to match the incoming Armada." "Good," Walsh said. "And what about your special mission?" Powell smiled slightly. "My team is ready. We'll take a stealth ship to the Zexorian command vessel and plant the quantum virus in their network." Walsh turned to Dr. Eric Johnson, a thin man with glasses who looked too young to be Earth's leading physicist. "Doctor, is the gravity web ready?" Johnson nodded. Yes, Admiral. We've placed the generators around the outer solar system. When activated, they'll create artificial gravity fields that will trap the Zexorian fleet in normal space. They won't be able to use faster-than-light travel to escape. Perfect, Walsh said. Everyone knows their roles. Let's get to work. 3 days later, the sensors detected the Zexorian stellar armada entering the solar system. The fleet was massive, over 2,000 ships of various sizes. Leading them was the Imperial Dreadnought, a ship so large it could swallow Earth's moon. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Morgan watched the enemy approach. "They're not being cautious this time," he said. "They're coming straight for us." "They're angry," Admiral Walsh replied from her command center on Earth. "We hurt their pride. Now they want revenge." The Zexorian fleet moved past Neptune, heading toward the inner planets. Supreme Commander Zixel stood on his bridge, watching the screens. "No tricks this time," he said. "Full attack formation. Destroy everything in your path." As the Armada reached Uranus, Admiral Walsh gave the order. "Activate the gravity web." Throughout the outer solar system, hidden devices powered up. Space itself seemed to bend and twist. The Zexorian ships suddenly slowed down, caught in invisible nets of gravity. "What's happening?" Zixel demanded. "Why are we slowing down?" "Some kind of gravity field, sir," his science officer replied. "It's preventing us from using our faster-than-light engines. We're trapped in normal space." "Impossible," Zixel said. "No species has this technology except—" He stopped, his 4 eyes widening. On the Defiance, Morgan smiled. "The web is working. The enemy is caught. All ships prepare to engage." The human fleet moved forward, still smaller than the Zexorian Armada, but now with powerful new weapons. From the Venus facilities, special transports brought antimatter warheads to the human ships. At the same time, Commander Powell's stealth ship slipped through the enemy fleet, heading for the Imperial Dreadnought. His small team carried the most dangerous weapon of all, a quantum virus that could shut down the entire Zexorian network. As the human fleet engaged the front lines of the trapped Armada, Powell's ship attached itself to the hull of the Imperial Dreadnought, like a tiny parasite on a massive beast. "We're in position," Powell reported. "Beginning infiltration now." The largest space battle in human history was about to reach its turning point. While the battle raged in the solar system, Captain Morgan called his best officers to the bridge of the Defiance. "We have a bold plan," he said. "Admiral Walsh has approved a special mission. We're going to strike at the heart of the Zexorian Empire." Lieutenant Susan Kelly looked surprised. "You mean go to their home world? How?" Morgan pointed to a screen showing data taken from captured Zexorian ships. "We have the coordinates for Zexor Prime, their throne world. While their fleet is busy here, we'll make a jump directly to their home planet." "But sir," said Officer Wright, "that's deep in enemy territory." "Exactly," Morgan replied. "They won't expect us there. Our mission is to find out the source of their power and disable it." The Defiance slipped away from the main battle. Using its advanced engines, the ship made a precise jump through space. When they arrived, a large purple planet hung before them. "Zexor Prime," Kelly whispered, "the center of the Empire." "Scan the planet," Morgan ordered. "Sir," Wright reported, "I'm detecting thousands of ships in orbit, but they're not military vessels. They're slaves, ships from other worlds bringing goods to the Zexorians." Kelly studied the data coming in. "Captain, I'm picking up strange energy readings from the main palace. It's like nothing we've seen before." Morgan nodded. "That's our target. We need to get down there and find out what it is." Using the Defiance's stealth technology, they approached the planet undetected. Morgan selected a small team for the mission. Lieutenant Kelly for her language skills, tech specialist Nathan Reed for his computer knowledge, and himself. They landed their small shuttle near the enormous palace that dominated the capital city. The buildings were tall and made of purple crystal, glowing with inner light. Look at this place, Reed said. They've built everything with stolen technology. Kelly nodded. The architecture is a mix of at least 7 different alien styles. Nothing is original. They made their way to the palace, with Kelly posing as a diplomat from a distant world. The plan worked, and soon they were inside the massive building. The energy source is coming from below us, Reed whispered, checking his scanner. They found a hidden elevator and descended deep under the palace. When the doors opened, they gasped. Before them was an enormous room filled with stolen technology from hundreds of worlds. And at the center was a giant crystal structure, pulsing with blue light. The Imperial Mind Core, Kelly said, reading a sign in the Zexorian language. This is what controls their entire empire. Reed moved closer to examine it. It's a massive supercomputer built from living crystal. This technology is incredible. And stolen, Morgan added. Look around. Everything here was taken from other species. Reed connected his computer to the Mind Core. I can access their entire network from here. Their history, their technology, everything. What does it say about their empire? Kelly asked. Reed's face grew dark as he read. They've conquered hundreds of worlds, enslaved dozens of species. They steal the best technology from each world they conquer, then force the people to serve them. Morgan nodded grimly. Download everything. Then upload our virus. While Kelly distracted the guards by pretending to be lost, Reed worked quickly. He planted the quantum virus deep in the Mind Core systems. It's done, he said. When activated, this will give us control of all Zexorian military systems. Morgan pulled out a small device and pressed a button. This will broadcast a message to every world in the Empire, showing them what we found here. As they made their way back to their ship, alarms began to sound throughout the palace. The truth about the Zexorian Empire, their cruelty, their theft, their lies, was being sent to every planet they controlled. Mission accomplished, Morgan said as they took off. Now let's get back to Earth. The real fight is about to begin. The Defiance returned to the solar system just as the great battle reached its peak. Captain Morgan watched the screens, seeing hundreds of ships locked in combat. Status report, he ordered. Sir, Commander Powell's team successfully planted the virus in the Imperial Dreadnought. Officer Wright reported. They're waiting for our signal. Morgan nodded. And our fleet. Holding their own, sir, but taking heavy losses. The Zexorians still outnumber us. Not for long, Morgan said. Send the activation code now. The quantum virus that Reed had planted in the Imperial Mind Core came to life. At the same moment, Commander Powell's virus activated in the Imperial Dreadnought. The effect was immediate. Throughout the Zexorian fleet, ships suddenly lost power. Weapons systems shut down. Communications failed. On the Imperial Dreadnought, Supreme Commander Zixel watched in horror as humans appeared on all of his screens. This is Captain Daniel Morgan of Earth, Morgan said. We now control your fleet. All your systems belong to us. Zixel's 4 eyes widened in shock. Impossible. How did you? We visited your home world, Morgan continued. We found your Imperial Mind Core. We know the truth about your empire. Morgan pressed a button, and images began to play on all screens throughout the Zexorian fleet. They showed the stolen technology, the enslaved worlds, the true history of the Zexorian Empire. You built your power by stealing from others, Morgan said. You enslaved dozens of species. And now, it's over. At that moment, something unexpected happened. The ships of the other species in the Zexorian fleet began to turn against their masters. The races that had been forced to fight for the Empire now rose up against it. Sir, Wright reported, we're getting messages from the other alien fleets. They're asking to join us. Morgan smiled. Tell them they're welcome. Zixel knew he was defeated. What do you want? He asked, his once proud voice now small and afraid. Order your remaining forces to retreat, Morgan said. Go back to your home world. The Empire as you knew it is finished. With no choice left, Zixel gave the order. The remaining Zexorian ships turned and fled the solar system. 1 month later, representatives from 20 alien species gathered on Earth. They met in a large hall built specially for this historic moment. President Laura Chen stood before them. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "Today, we create a new beginning for all our peoples. Not an empire built on fear and slavery, but a galactic coalition built on respect and cooperation." Admiral Walsh, now celebrated as the architect of humanity's victory, watched with pride as the alien representatives signed the new alliance treaty. Captain Morgan stood nearby, together with his crew from the Defiance. "It's hard to believe it's really over," he said. "Not over," Walsh replied. "Just beginning." In a small cell on Earth, Supreme Commander Zixel watched the ceremony on a screen. He had been captured during the final battle, and now awaited trial for war crimes. "How?" he asked the guard outside his cell. "How did a primitive species defeat the greatest empire in the galaxy?" The guard, a young soldier named Peter Wright, formerly of the Defiance, smiled slightly. "You made one big mistake. You laughed at us. You thought we were weak because we were different. You never bothered to really understand us." As the signing ceremony ended, a new ship prepared to leave Earth. The vessel gleamed in the sunlight, its hull painted white and blue. On its side was the name Last Laugh. Its captain, Susan Kelly, looked at the stars through the view screen. "Plot a course to the unknown regions," she ordered. "Let's see what else is out there." As Earth grew small behind them, the Last Laugh jumped to faster than light speed, carrying the ideals of the new coalition to the stars. The Zexorian Empire had laughed at humanity. Humanity had not only survived, they had changed the galaxy forever.